We're cooking on a line.
Hey, welcome to the Southern Passion Lounge. I am your host, Chef Amadeus. Happy Monday to everyone. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to have another great show. So let's go ahead and jump into our show today because I'm kind of excited about this. My first guest is out of Georgia, and I just started learning about the smokers that he makes, and I've learned a lot, not just from him, but when I posted that I had a pick from Lang Smokers, people from Arizona, from Atlanta, from the West Coast, man, that's a great smoker. So when I got all that, I said, let me reach out to them and see if they can come on and talk about their smokers on the show. So I reached out to Ben Lang and invited him on the show today, and so we're going to have a lot of fun. So, hey, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Chef. How about yourself?
Man, I'm excited to have you on the show.
Well, it's reciprocated. We're excited to be here.
So I sent you the picture of the pit that I was cooking on, and my friend, like, if you fell in love with the pit, wait till you have a smoker. And I was like, man, this is just amazing. So tell us about Lang Smokers.
Well, we build what's become known as a reverse flow offset smoker cooker. And it's got an offset firebox, and it's got a reverse flow heating system, meaning the heat drafts out of the firebox up under a false bottom, which is a griddle in a Lang cooker, draws to the opposite end from the firebox, then drafts back over the cooking racks to get out the smokestack. So the heat is used 2 times before it gets out of the cooker. It's under the food and then back over the food. And what's set us apart from everybody for 30 years is that, and what has become nicknamed reverse flow, is the fact that in a Lang barbecue smoker, it's always had a griddle underneath the grilling racks. So when the fat renders out of the food, it sizzles and sears when it hits that hot steel griddle. And that gives you a moisture and flavor that is unsurpassed, as you well know. The best flavor comes from fat searing on a clean griddle, however you go about it. So when we designed our unit, we incorporated the griddle concept into it. And I guess what makes our unit so good to work with is you can cook a load of meat in it and clean it up in 20 minutes after you get done, so that there's nothing left in it from the last cooking that you got to burn off on the next cooking, and there's nothing in there that's going to foul up the flavor and the consistency of what Daddy used to call snappy fresh food.
Okay. I mean, you guys are just like I said, everybody talks highly about what you guys are doing, and I'm looking forward to working with one of your smokers.
Well, we can't wait to get one in your hot little hands.
So now, what's the other thing that we want to talk about, and I've talked to a couple of people about this, is what's the difference between smoking and grilling?
Well, it's a smoke flavor that's imparted into the meat, and generally when you think in terms of smoking meats, you're thinking low and slow, and hours worth of cooking to tenderize everything. But grilling is primarily direct, right over the top of the coals or heat. The heat comes through one time and it's gone. Generally, a smoking apparatus will have an indirect type of grilling or cooking, meaning that the fire or the heat source is off to one side and it drafts indirectly over or under the foods and through the foods, and then exit the smoker cooker. So grilling is at high end temperatures generally. I call it get me done when you're grilling. You want to just get finished with it pretty much. You can cook hours on end grilling, but you've got to really watch it that you don't sear the meat too much. In the smoker cookers, it's kind of goof-proof results, meaning that you build a fire and you get a hot bed of coals and embers in a firebox, and you put the meat in, and the food starts cooking, and then all you have to do is add a stick of split wood to a bed of coals at a regular interval, which is to keep the coals going and not let them die out. And it's pretty easy to cook. I mean, a layman can get a hold of our smoker cookers, and they become the go-to person in their center of influence for barbecue. The folks that use our stuff are, it's diverse. It's everything from chefs to enthusiasts to competition cooks, restaurateurs. Just everybody. People ask me how things going. I say, well, they're going great. We happen to deal in what I believe is the common denominator, that eating thing. We're going to do it 3 times a day. That's right. And if we're working 16 hours, we're going to eat 4 times a day. So it's real diverse, our client base, and we're real excited about it because we get to be in the mix with folks in their ventures or just, making memories in their backyard and winning friends and influencing people with their barbecue prowess.
Well, I have a lot of my listeners that are backyard folks that, and they're always looking to step their game up. So I get a lot of questions about, what's the best wood, what's the difference between charcoal and wood, how all these questions. And I think I have one of my listeners, when I told him that you were coming on, and he's like, that. He said, that must be the guy. I've been watching his video like 100 times. So apparently he's been to your websites a lot and is really trying to decide on what smoker fits him. So how do you let people know which one is good for them?
Well, of course, like you say, at our website, langbarbecuesmokers.com, that's LANGBBQsmokers.com, there is a section there that helps you with that question, how to pick out a cooker that fits your needs. And you're absolutely right, Chef. Most folks that have cooked and gotten by with what they've cooked on, they're ready to up their game, so to speak. They're at a point where the $200 and $300 get them by grills have got them by long enough, and they don't want another one. They want something that's right. A lot of people have made down payments on a fine cooker and still don't have it, because of the virtue of the smaller cookers that they've gotten by with. But our cookers are 1/4-inch plate steel. That's one of the things that set them apart. They've got what I call a shear cooking weight that when you get it hot, meat doesn't have a chance. It's going to get right. It's going to sizzle and sear and caramelize and get that mahogany color to it. But the way to pick out a cooker is based on your need. If you're an individual cooking for your own interest and your own entertaining, generally something in the up to 60, 70-pound range is more than adequate. Now, folks that cook a little more than the individual might do a little more entertaining. They want a little bigger capacity. They get a model that would handle up to 80 to 90 pounds of meat. That's our extra small and small models. They're called 36-inch or 48-inch models, which you can see everything. We got a complete catalog and pricing at the website. But that's generally the entry level is in the individual needs. Now, some folks that cook, they know that they're cooking extended family. They cook for their own entertaining, their own individual needs, but when asked by a niece to cook for their reception, they're happy to step up and do it, or want to cook for the kids' crowd at school, something along those lines. They're extended family or extended family type cooking. They're going to need a little bit larger cooker. That's where our 60-inch model tends to shine. It'll start a venture if somebody wanted to cook a volume of food, but after they get to cooking 2 times a day to keep up, they're real quick to want to step into our Model 84s. Now, those Model 84s are legendary in is how much they cook. They'll cook, 40 pork butts at a time, 8-pound pork butts, over 300 pounds of meat. They'll cook it in as fast as you want to cook it or as slow as you want to cook it. That's the beauty of our grills is you can cook an 8-10-hour pork butt. You can cook a 12, 14-hour if you want. But if you need to, you can cook a 6-hour brisket at 350 degrees, and it'll win a competition. I've got championship cooks that do it all the time. They cook what I call fast and furious. They're not into staying up all evening or working 10, 12 hours. They just want to, get her done and get on to the next thing. And that's where a cooker that really lets you crank the heat to it and hold its heat really does a great job for you. But our catalog shows a complete line of units from extra small to extra large and everything in between to fit the needs of the folks that are cooking. So we pretty much can satisfy their needs based on an original model, which has all the bells and whistles, but it doesn't have what's called a deluxe warmer. And a warmer is no more than just a vertical stack that sits on top of the firebox. It allows you to hold pans of food you've cooked or bring up sides in it. It's just additional cooking space on the rig itself. So our units are either bought original or deluxe. But the one of the things that excites me a lot about what we do is the diversity of what we do with our client base. Even in the toughest of times that have passed, these recessionary times, our business continued to grow and see record-setting months, as it still does. And it's primarily because of the unit, the product that we build. It does what it's supposed to. It's in no way or fashion lackluster. It actually exceeds the expectations of the owners that buy it and take delivery of it. And then when they start cooking and they find out the quality of the food, it's just unbelievable what you can get from a unit that does what it's supposed to instead of a unit that you got to hold your mouth right to get the thing to cook right.
Well, like I said, it's been, when I got my pit, it really extended my cooking to do more things on the pit. And one of the things that I like about it is down here, JEA, if you have an electric stove like I do, I have an electric stove inside, running that stove like that, it will pull on a lot of electricity. So I like to cook all my food outside. And so between cooking in my cast iron pots, cooking right on the grill, and making those coals and using my Dutch ovens, as you can tell, I love cooking outdoors. And just the pit that I have is just, I was like a 3-year-old at Christmas when I received it. And then when I started cooking on it, I was just like thinking about all the things that I can do just on the stove. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one of the smokers so that we can really have some fun with it. Gary from G's Barbecue is like, he raves about it. So I was like, yeah, we just got to go ahead and get this and make this happen.
We're cooking on a line.